This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
This episode is brought to you by PNC Bank, who believes some things in life should be boring, like banking, because boring is steady, pragmatic, responsible. You don't want your bank to be cool or sexy. Sexy is for red carpets, not banks. That's why PNC Bank strives to be boring with your money, so you can be happily fulfilled with your life. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. Brilliantly boring since 1865 is a service mark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is, covering news, notes, and opinions on your favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, right here on the Eagles Pinball Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stifel. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard A Knowledge. That's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and hosting at Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., 90 minutes of sports talk, taking your opinions. The best morning show in Philadelphia. I link tomorrow's show or today's show in the description below. Make sure you copy and paste it and join in and have your voices heard. Guys, yesterday's show was a little bit, unexpected, the topic. The Brandon Graham comments about Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And I think two things need to be said. One, I do think that Brandon Graham was, A, wrong in saying it, but also, B, I think his words did not come out as he expected. B, I also feel like this little drama continues to help the reality check that this Eagles team really needed. A little smack in the face. They haven't lost yet. The Carolina game was close, but they needed that reality check moment. And I think this is going to be something that hopefully brings this team closer together versus, driving a wedge in between them. But I think the key thing to remember is that obviously Brandon Graham backtracked on some of his comments and said that it was wrong and he was apologizing. And it was kind of ironic that he talked about, A.J. Brown talking to the media, about problems when that's what he was doing as well. I think it's time for Eagles Nation to move on. There's enough problems for us to talk about. There's enough drama for us to talk about with the Eagles. And even though we're 11-2, it feels like the pulse of Eagles Nation feels that this Eagles team is 2-11, not 11-2. So let's move on. Let's get past it. Some of the things I'm going to talk about today are things that I planned on talking about yesterday. Some good, some bad, some in between. But let's move past it. So first and foremost, let's talk the good. Let's talk the positive. Saquon Barkley has set the Eagles single season rushing record. He is up to 1,623 rushing yards, surpassing LaShawn McCoy as the all-time Eagles running back in a single season. He is on pace to break Eric Dickerson's 2,105 yards. He's got 483 yards to go. That's 121 yards per game. He is averaging 124.8 yards a game. So in theory, he is on pace to do that. I know there's a lot being made about the lack of targets for A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts not throwing him the ball. If you go from 2022, the last super successful season, the Eagles going to the Super Bowl, to this year, the Eagles averaged 31 and a half passes a game. This year, they're averaging 25.2 yard pass attempts per game. That's 6. That's about a 6 pass per game difference. But see, the difference is between what A.J. Brown or what Saquon Barkley is carrying the ball versus what DeAndre Swift was carrying the ball and Miles Sanders. And that has a multiple that's where the difference comes into play. There's a 5 rush per game difference between, Swift and Miles Sanders to what Saquon's getting, and it's coming at the hands of A.J. Brown. And I think people forget, and people keep saying that A.J. Brown's having this down year. He's not getting the targets, and while they're down, he does have 836 yards on the season. He has missed 3 games. He is, I think it's second highest per catch average of his career. He's averaging 17.4, yards per catch. He's 17th in receiving yards despite missing 3 games, but he's 5th in the league in receiving yards per game. So I think the numbers and the drop in A.J. Brown's numbers are kind of being overblown a little bit. And I think it is partly due to the fact that Saquon Barkley is doing such an amazing job at running the football. And there will come a time where Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown have to hook up for a big game. And I still personally have the confidence that Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown can do it. Now, I don't want to see Jalen Hurts go back to 35, 40 passes a game. But in theory, I have confidence in it because Jalen Hurts has done it before. 2020, he was an MVP candidate for a reason. So you know what? The numbers on Jalen Hurts that I could give you, 10 of 13 while they were down against the Panthers. He was 5 for 5 in the red zone. He's only thrown 1 interception in the last 10 games. 7th in yards per attempt. Jalen Hurts' numbers are not that bad as people think. He's only got 5 interceptions on the season as a whole. So I have that confidence that when it's necessary for Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown to start hooking up again, that they're capable of doing it. Another thing with Jalen Hurts, in the fourth quarter, he's got more touchdown passes than incompletions in the last 9 games, in the 9-game winning streak. His fourth quarter passer rating is 152.6. So Jalen Hurts wins. He leads us to victory. And he's actually doing better in an efficient manner than we realize. It's just being overshadowed by Saquon Barkley. On the negative side, I will like to say that, obviously we might have maybe an issue at kicker. Jake Elliott missed on Sunday again, another extra or field goal from 50 yards out. In his career coming into the season, he was 26 of 37, a 71% clip from 50 yards out, lock solid from 50 yards out. He's 0 for 5 this year from 50 yards out. The yips are something that kickers have. Now Nick Sirianni spoke on it on his Monday after presser, and he says he has lots of confidence in him, and he blamed the wind on his miss on Sunday, saying that was a big deal, and reiterated how many big kicks that Jake Elliott's made throughout his career for the Eagles. But it is something that Eagles fans have to worry about and think about. He obviously went for a punt late in the game, Nick Sirianni, versus a long field goal from Jake Elliott for a reason. So it's something to think about, something to keep an eye on as we move forward. Obviously, defensively speaking, the Eagles defense is still lights out across the NFL, still doing a great job. Number 1 overall defense, number 2 in points per game given up, number 2 in passing yards given up, and the 8th best rushing defense in football. It's something I fully expect to continue going on, and it's another week of me just shouting out Zach Bond and how Zach Bond deserves to be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation, even though he's not going to get it, even though he's not in the conversation. Think of it this way. He played 62 games with the Saints before coming to Philadelphia. He had 88 total tackles, 6 for a loss, 8 quarterback hits, 1 interception, and 2 sacks. That's in 62 games. In 13 games with the Eagles so far, he's already got 129 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, 5 quarterback hits, that 1 interception, 3.5 sacks, 3 pass defended, 4 forced fumbles, which he didn't even have a single forced fumble before coming here. Zach Bond needs to get the respect he deserves. Zach Bond deserves that conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. He won't get it, but he does deserve it because he is playing at such an elite level. Another player on a smaller sample size that I don't think is getting talked about enough is Moro Ojomo. On Sunday against the Panthers, he played 15 pass rush snaps. He got 5 pressures. That's a 33% clip, 3 hurries, and 2 quarterback hits. really solidify himself as part of the rotation on the interior of the Eagles defense. But because of Jalen Carter's work, because of Zach Bond at linebacker, because of, Quenya Mitchell and Quinyanamo Bay at what they're doing, some of the other players on this defense are getting overshadowed, like Moro Jomo, like the Kobe Dean, like some of the other guys. So Moro Jomo, I wanted to make sure we gave him the credit he deserves. Tomorrow on this show, we'll start diving into the Steelers, who are our opponent this week, and some of the Steelers, some of the stuff on the Steelers by the numbers. We'll get into it, and obviously Friday we'll have our predictions. Tune into Training in the AM later this morning, where I will have Pittsburgh Steelers reporter Neil Cooling on the show to get into his opinion on the Steelers-Eagles matchup, and then I'll break down some of that tomorrow on this show for you guys as well. This is the Eagles Checkdown right here on the Eagles Pinpoll Podcast Network. I'm Phil Stiefel. I'll talk to you later, guys. Go Birds. End the drama, guys. Before I even say it, end the drama. Let's move on. Let's get back to football. Go Birds, and Bubbles up to y'all.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write a million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, and there's so much to share. With classics like Caramel Brulee Latte, Peppermint Mocha, and Chestnut Praline Latte, we're celebrating everyone's flavor of festivity. Order yours in the app.
With Lululemon, the real gift happens when they're living in it. When you give them the coziest scuba matching set, the real gift is this. And this. And this. This holiday, Lululemon makes it easy to give a gift that goes beyond. Open the moment. Shop now at Lululemon.com.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.